Speaker.
Is that the
Is that a vote process?
Member for Balmain seeks leave. Is leave granted? Leave is granted.
You better agree, mate.
Well, something's working today.
Good on you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Temporary Speaker. I rise today on behalf of the Greens to address this question. I do want to congratulate the member for Wollongong. I support this motion, but I do want to highlight some of the contradictions and inconsistencies that we have seen expressed in the House today. Because one of the facts that we see when it comes to privatisation or corporatisation or contestability or all of these buzzwords is that the community does not support this approach. We can see members in the gallery here, progressive elements in the trade union movement, broad members of the community do not support this approach towards privatisation and selling. And it's unfortunate that the leadership of both parties in this House, both the Labor Party and the coalition parties, both support this approach. And we've seen in the history over the last 16 years that New South Wales Labor went on a privatisation spree. Whether it was the lotteries, which was a ridiculous privatisation, whether it was waste services, a whole range of different areas, and of course electricity, where Labor, the leadership of Labor, fought tooth and nail against rank and file union members, against the broad majority of the community, especially on the issue of electricity privatisation. So it's pretty rich for Labor to get up here and say, oh, we're opposing this, when there is no consistency. It's purely opportunist, because the logic of Labor is the logic of the economic rationalists, which we see expressed both in the coalition and in the elements of the Labor Party, which unfortunately seem to dominate the Treasury approach of this Labor Party. And that should not be the case. Because we have seen, and the Leader of the Opposition doesn't like that approach because it highlights the contradictions in the Labor Party, where the mass of the rank and file and the union leadership don't support privatisation, do not support privatisation. The community doesn't support privatisation, but it does. So, on that basis, it's clear that there is hypocrisy. But when it comes to the coalition is running this line as well. And it's clear that it will not give, as the member for Kira said, it's clear that it will not give the type of investment in the community that the spin proposes that it will. So on that basis, it seems very clear that the type of approach the member for Wollongong is taking, and all credit to her, for putting this forward, and for the position that she has taken over the long term, defending the Illawarra and supporting her area in particular. It's important that this House support this motion because it's about time this privatisation, corporatisation approach, which reduces amenities in particular for rural and regional New South Wales, stops. And it should stop here. It should stop here. And we know, and I'll say this clearly, while the Labor Party has made mistakes in the past, it is the clear position of the coalition to support this type of agenda, which we Greens do not support. So I welcome the fact that the Labor Party is seeing that this is not the way to go forward, and I welcome the fact that they will be supporting this motion. I might just say finally that as the member for Balmain, I've seen significant changes when it comes to working harbour in the waterfront in my area. When my parents moved to Australia, my mother, who was born and bred in Liverpool in England, her father was a dock worker his whole life, and my father a fitter, working on the shipyards in Balmain. We've seen significant difference, and it has taken a lot away from our community. The heritage, the jobs, a lot away. And we're now wanting to make sure that what is left of the working harbour is retained, and in areas where we can open the harbour up to the community, that be done. So I just wanted to thank the member for Wollongong for bringing this motion forward, thank the members of the community and the trade union movement who recognise that holding such an important strategic asset in public hands is the only way that it can be dealt with in the future to make sure that the jobs, the conditions and the history of this place is defended. Thank you.
Question is the motion for the member for Wollongong be agreed to. I call the member for Wollongong in reply.